It's absolutely incredible to have you in this space with us. And finally getting to really just get to know you deeper. Getting to know Angela and what she's gone through, what you've gone through as a soul.
Beautiful. Well,
Yes.
I love that we're here connecting in real time, in person.
Yes.
This is magical. I know we discussed this a long time ago. So the energy is sort of created, and now we're simply just merging with that and experiencing this in physical reality.
Yes.
And that's the power of manifestation.
Yes. Well, like you were saying, I mean, I think both of us have definitely been on a very transformational journey in our lives that led us to this point of certain realizations and also allowing what is for us to be for us. Because, yes, like you were saying, manifesting in physical reality.
Yes.
Because there's the component of our spirituality that I feel very, just resonates, very similar, very, very similar, as far as how we both ended up in these positions.
Yes.
You know, with ourselves.
Yes. I feel when it comes to spirituality, manifestation, unless you are a monk
Yes.
in the Himalayas and you get to spend your entire life just meditating and chanting sacred mantras, and as a householder, spiritual householder,
Yes.
the spiritual, everything spiritual, I believe really needs to meet the material, rubber meeting the road. So as a householder, you know, I'm married, so I'm a woman, I'm a wife, woohoo! But I'm also a mother,
That's beautiful.
dog mom and human mom, I'm a daughter. So I really feel we're constantly living, we're just at these intersections of spiritual life, material life, physical life, but we are spirits in physicality.
Yes.
The body is a sacred vessel and container of the spirit. So I believe in whole health, was taking care of the body, inside out, outside in. It's that fusion.
It's a fusion.
Like the logo, you know, it's that fusion. It's a never-ending cycle. It's our cyclical nature as humans. We get up with the sun when it's light. We get tired and we rest when it's dark.
Yes.
And then women, we get an extra cycle, menstruation, menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
And like the moon cycles around every 28 and a half days. The most healthy women, I like to see my clients' menstrual cycle, it's 28, 29 days.
Wow.
So we get that second cycle that really emphasizes our cyclical nature. So all the women are really connected to the moon.
Yes.
Since ancient times, we love the moon because we're so connected to that.
Yes.
So the new moon is this week.
Ooh.
That's the dark moon,
Okay.
which is synonymous with day 1 of women's cycle. So very similar energy. It's lower energy. You become more introspective. And people, you know, there's this thing, PMS. I always say it's really called it's really because we need premenstrual support. That's really what PMS is.
Okay.
Because the woman starts to go introspective.
Wow.
It's like you go into your cave, so to speak. It's that cave time, the midnight hour.
Yeah.
That's what day 1 is. So we're really meant to be resting and not out and about, running errands, taking care of everybody's needs.
Yes.
Much like the new moon, you're setting intention, you're planting your seeds, but you need some time to be introspective to do that. And so as women, we kind of get that monthly vacation. That's really what your period is supposed to be. It's really supposed to be your monthly vacation.
Yes.
It's your cave time.
Like a blessing.
Yes, and it's usually when I, leading up to my day 1, because I track it, I encourage all my women to track it.
Okay.
So leading up to the day 1, the 10 days, for some people it's like 10 days before. Some women it's like 7 days before. Some women it's like 5 to 3 days before your day 1, which is the day you start to bleed. that is usually when you start to feel your mood shifts, becomes very apparent.
Yes.
Like you kind of don't want to be bothered with certain things because you're going from outside in, you know? So you don't want to give out the attention to demands.
Wow.
So you want to kind of look at your calendar and go, what can I say no to this week leading up to day one? And it's usually when I start to like cook meals ahead of time.
Okay.
Or buy healthy frozen options.
Yeah.
So when day one comes, I serve my family without serving too much energetically. So you want to conserve that energy.
Well, I feel that just really will resonate with so many viewers, Angela, because so many people, I feel as women, we don't give ourselves the permission slip to just be okay with not doing what we would label as society as anything, right? When it's some of the most important work is to nurture your body when you're going through a bigger shift, because you are shedding an old version of yourself, realistically.
Every month.
Yes.
Every month we shed literal, and it's literal, it's quite physical. Yes. Because in the womb, in your uterus, you know, the lining, so women watching this, you know, when you have your period, you sometimes can see liquid, but it's not always liquid. No. Sometimes it's like kind of chunky, like a substance. That's
maybe
literally,
like a lining.
yes, that's literally our uterus lining.
Yes.
It's longer needed, so it sheds and it leaves. So as cyclical beings, we're really not designed to hold on and cling onto everything and hold on to all the old. Like we're really not meant to do that. And it's just truly living not by design when we do that. So this resistance to releasing and shedding, it's actually quite unnatural.
Yes,
and so
unhealthy,
when we engage in these unnatural behaviors, it facilitates a lot of challenge in the physical reality.
Definitely.
So this, going back to the allowing said, that's essential.
Yes, yes. Well, and it's such a, I feel, on this planet, as we learn how to let go of more of the old to allow into the new in so many different aspects. It's not even just our menstrual cycle as women. Like you were saying, it will manifest in all different ways and fields. And sometimes it's just us giving ourselves that permission slip that it's okay to fully forgive and move forward. I think that that's a big thing, especially like you were speaking about, if it's specifically targeted towards the menstrual cycle, the self-compassion. Because your body is going through a physical change. Yeah. But also even just mentally, spiritually connected.
You want to be caring for the self.
Yes.
And really carving out. I mean, ideally, I would love to see all women, like day 1 to 3, you have your beautiful cave, like men enjoy their men cave.
It's
so
the
we enjoy the womb cave. And you do your flowers.
Yes.
You do your self-massage, you know, Abhyanga. For those of you who practice yoga, you may know that self-massage.
Yes.
You listen to soothing music, make some tea, journal, like whatever is nourishing, that's what it's for. And when we do the opposite and start to give energy and be very externalized in those first 1 to 5 days of the bleed, your vitality will wane. That becomes very apparent almost immediately during and following the menstrual cycle.
Wow.
And for the next 28 days, for the next 4 weeks, your body is in catch-up mode. And then you will see the next cycle, depending on what's happening with the body leading up to that point, the next cycle may begin to be off. You may have some more cramping.
Yes.
Different hormonal things start to communicate through the skin. And then other challenges. So the body starts to be in catch-up mode. And we always want to minimize putting the body through that kind of stress in a cumulative way. A little bit of stress the body can handle. We're made for it.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
A little bit of stress is good.
Yes.
But when the stress becomes a pattern, it becomes very taxing on the body. And then as soon as the body starts to lose vitality, so it's like the energy starts to go down, everything else in life, the relationship, the career, the food relation, everything starts to lose the luster, you know?
Yeah. It's sparkle.
We lose the shine, the
Yes.
sparkle. It becomes
sparkle.
dim and low energy, and then we just start to be like this. But we don't want to be like that. We want to be like
Yes.
vitality, you know?
Yes. Well, and I think it's so important for so many people to just allow themselves that space. Because I feel as a society we have programmed, and I know for myself, even as a business owner or as just a female entrepreneur, it doesn't, whatever it may be. I'm personally not a parent, so I fully can't resonate with that. But I know for myself, when I'm starting to just lack in my own self-nurturing, own self-nutrition, like hydrating myself, giving myself what I need, like a plant to grow, I start to notice I feel just a little bit shaky. That's how it feels.
Unstable ground.
Yes.
You know? You start to get a little bit, and then the overwhelm or like anxiety. And as adult women, like I always say, I always encourage my clients, like, you are your own mom.
Yeah.
I always say BYOM.
Yeah,
and BYOF.
That's a good.
Like, be your own mother.
That's a good party though invitation for yourself.
BYOM. Be your own mother. Be your own mother.
We got to use that, just
be
in
your
life.
own mother.
Yes,
Just do it.
yes.
However you want
and how
me
you
to be
express.
mothered. Do that for yourself.
Yes, yes.
You know,
your own self an invitation.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, because I love Angela, because I've personally, guys, so I have used Angela's services. I've been, generous enough that she allowed me to be a part of her experience. I feel grateful that I chose to be a part of the experience because I learned so much just internally what was manifesting externally, things that I personally needed to move through with more just ease and gentleness, rather than thinking, personally that I needed to do so much work. I think that that's big also for everyone who's listening, is sometimes we get caught up in the thought patterns actually than just allowing ourselves to be okay and nurture ourselves. Overthinking what just naturally will come through if you give yourself the right tools.
Yes. And so that's why my practice, when I founded elemental medicine, which is like the main method of activation.
Yes.
I really focus a lot on embodiment. So it's
in the body.
In body.
Yes, in your body.
Because we can be so out of our body,
all the time. We don't even
Everything's
notice.
in front of us.
In the
Everything's
car.
not yet. We're chasing. We're going after it.
Yeah.
Or we're all up here.
Yes.
Or we're somewhere else completely. But we're not inhabiting. We're not living in
our
the
body.
Container, in the vessel. So if we're not in this, it causes power loss, loss of power, powerlessness. So I always
Maybe
say
distress, what they would label.
Yes. And my background, I was trained originally, classically, I should say, in integrative medicine.
Yes, we've seen.
So that has a lot to do with like physical health and wellness, but really whole, mental, spiritual, emotional, physical health, like all 4 components.
Yes.
And then we break it down to like 8 sub areas. But the whole thing about integrative health training, integrative medicine, is a reduction in stress. So when I did mindfulness-based stress reduction, which is a method founded by Jon Kabat-Zinn, who brought mindfulness to the West from his journeys and studies in the East, he developed MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction. It's a whole method. And when I received that training, it was all about reducing stress and how stress is really the root cause of mental health conditions, physical health conditions, emotional health conditions.
Just the leading in all different areas.
And I grew up receiving shamanic training. So shamanism was always my first, I would say, first mother that I grew up with. My grandmother on my father's side was my first teacher.
Yes, big influence.
Yes. And I always put the two together, right? And so in my Western training, it's like stress is now like the root cause. But really tying that with my shamanic background, I believe genuinely the root cause of stress
Yes.
is loss of power.
Wow.
Is humans' loss of power,
Okay.
sense of powerlessness
Yes.
that is learned. It's learned powerlessness.
Yes.
Learned I can't. There's a very different energy to say I can't eat that cookie. Actually say I can't eat this cookie.
Can you say it right now? Okay,
it.
yes. I can't eat this cookie. I mean, even
Okay,
as
now
I
take
feel
a, now take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And you can say, I don't eat this cookie. I don't eat cookies.
I don't eat cookies. It's much better.
How did you feel like in your body or sensations in the body?
Well, the first one definitely just made me feel as if, it's just, as a powerlessness, like as if I couldn't do something, I didn't have the ability to. And even though I know that I'm a limitless being, that's where it felt like it just like, like immediately as I was even saying it.
Lack and restriction.
Yes. You know it's
taken
not
away
true.
from you.
Yeah.
And when you say I don't or I do,
Yes.
you're at the center of your universe.
Yes.
And that's how we're meant to be. I was
Choice.
saying the whole, like we're talking about taking care of our bodies, right?
Yeah.
The vessel and inhabiting fully in the body, not be out of the body while we're still alive, because living is so that we can remain in the body.
Yes.
That is so important because the powerlessness, humans are powerful because we are between heavens and earth. So the more you root into the earth, you can root and ground and stabilize, the higher you're able to then reach into the heavens, so to speak. The upper realms in shamanism, we talk about the upper, middle, and underworld. So the more you stabilize and strengthen the roots, the more you reach up in a stabilized, limitless way. But so many of us have learned and accepted this powerlessness.
Yes.
So we're neither rooting deeply nor reaching high.
No.
And then we get into this really weird situations
Yes.
in life
Yes.
where it's constant challenge after challenge, obstacle, confusion, anxiety, depression, which
Overwhelm.
is really like a lowered energy.
Yes.
That's what depression is.
Well, and I feel, Angela, that's so, powerful. As you were speaking about your grandmother, she's such a beautiful influence. Before we sat down, when I was, doing more of my research for Angela, I felt her come through. I felt your grandfather come through, and I felt your grandmother come through. And even as I was looking at your website, she just felt was with her and her watercolor paintings, being and drawing the lotuses.
Yes, she does a lot of watercolors. And she specializes in painting lotuses.
Wow, because she felt like she was such a big influence with Essence Wellness Design.
Absolutely.
As you shared with me before as well, your grandfather, just being the refinement, like being a diamond, and refining your own self, refining who you are as an individual. I feel like that's very big too. When you were speaking about, the shamanism, the different dark and light aspects of self and turning them into love, but having a really stable, rooted foundation so that you can reach more of the heavens with stability.
So you can reach into your potential and then bring that into this dimension's earthly realm.
Yes.
The physical reality,
Yes.
so to speak.
And it being, with the refinement aspect, it's really not, because I feel like a lot of Western culture is fixing, right? We want to fix. We want to fix ourselves. We want to fix everything outside of us. When realistically, there's nothing wrong with anyone, realistically. Like at the core of everyone, we're light beings. We're light source. We are source. And it's just the things that we go through as far as our own personal life experiences, contracts, certain karma that we experience, but it's just for our own healing. We're not broken. We're not something that needs to be fixed.
We are purposeful. We are on purpose.
Yes,
And so
yes.
I think one of the things that surprises the most when clients come, and because what I specialize now is really women's soul purpose activation.
Yes.
That's what I'm most passionate about, and that's what I spent most of my time engaging with and delivering. So one of the most shocking thing is like we may think purpose is vocation, it's occupation. But occupation is just one channel in which your purpose may come through physically.
Okay.
And so an occupation, as you may know, doesn't mean fulfillment.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
But everything's on purpose. So every woman's body type, from your body type to your hair color, to your ethnic representation, to your gender identity,
Yes.
How you were born as, how you view yourself, but this physical existence, your physical representation, because your body is really a physical representation of your spirit, of your soul.
Yes.
So everything is purposeful.
Yes.
So, you know, when client comes in and they're very focused on like weight loss, if I discover that actually takes her away from her purpose, I would never encourage that, because the unhealthful weight loss will actually distract and detract that woman from living her purpose.
Okay.
And that always results in intense, severe powerlessness, loss of power.
Yes.
And when you do
Out of
that, you can
alignment.
no longer be connected with your purpose.
Wow. Well, I feel that just to hear that elemental medicine, because I've been so intrigued ever since you first told me, Angela, what you do. I was like, this is an incredible aspect of healing, because it's not only bringing, you know, the aspect of our, you know, soul's purpose forward, but you're also helping women to access their own divine nature within inside their body.
Yes.
Because I feel like as women, we have been programmed over so many centuries too, and it hasn't even been intentional, but it's just literally lineage programming, that we are, you know, in a form we've taken away our own power by either that be societally, by men. We allowed ourselves, and I feel like this is really big for you with your lineage of Chinese heritage, with the women feeling that powerlessness. And I even saw on your social media when you were allowing your hips, you know, moving your hips, because we being inside of our bodies and feeling that energy without resistance, which it doesn't mean that it's not going to come through, but just feeling that it's okay to push past that little bit of uncomfortability.
It's necessary. It's like, at first it's okay, and then it's like, we must. It's necessary to become our whole selves and to be an embodiment of the divinity, the divine energy, creative energy, primal energy, source energy, you know, whatever you feel you identify with most. And on social media, I did a post of me dancing, and a lot of times people will identify that as sexual energy. Sexual energy and creative energy is really the same. It's the energy of life force and vitality. And I shared that day. So I grew up with 4 generations of women. It was me, my mother's generation, my mother, and then her mom, my dad's mom, so my grandmother, and then my great-grandmother. And then I grew up with multiple aunts. So I kind of grew up in like a matriarch, you know, village, so to speak. But what happened was the 4 generations of women before me, none of them could move their hips. And some of it's because they would say I can't. They thought there's something anatomically wrong with them. But it really comes from powerlessness, loss of power, repression, oppression. And because when we become disconnected from our physicality, from our body, we become disconnected with our power. And because women, we birth life, so whether we choose to deliver human babies or not, we have incredible creative potential to birth projects, businesses, relationships, connections. We can birth relationships with plants, our relationship with our animal companions. We are fertile soil, so to speak. So if we become cut off from our divinity within, our creative life force, then it's very easy to manipulate and control and influence. So at some point, the world was very matriarchal. Shamanic teachers around the world, regardless of lineage, will teach this. It started with the goddesses, the women. That's life. It's the bringer of life. And then at some point it switched we went from matriarchal to patriarchal. And this is not to say women is good, men is bad. It's never like that. We need both feminine and masculine to come together, like fusion, for
like
the fullness and richness of life, to really take off and thrive and be at their most magical and magnificent way, right?
Yes.
But what happened was like the matriarchal kind of got so pushed and squeezed that we really became out of balance as a world, as a hemisphere. You know, you can just go on and on.
We didn't even really recognize it.
We didn't even really recognize it, and then women became disconnected with themselves, and then we accepted the disconnect.
Yes, as
and
if it was
then
our
we start to
truth.
feel, and then we start to feel powerless,
yeah.
and then we start saying, I can't.
Yes.
And then we start to get stressed and anxious, and then we start having reproductive problems, and we start having menstruation problems, and then we take drugs that manipulate menstruation. So
and the powerlessness continues.
And then the powerlessness, and the powerlessness gives life to stress.
Yes.
And then the stress is going to take off in various forms.
Yes.
In relationships, in career, in body, in spirit, in mind.
Yes. Oh, well, I feel that, and I love you sharing.
This is deeply necessary. Some things must be said.
Yes. Well, especially with the matriarchal divine feminine connection. Because we have lineagely been so, you know, we were programmed that the women were strong and they were capable and they provided, you know, in so many ways. They were the rulers.
They were the Amazons, you know, way before Amazon, where we order everything now in boxes before. Those were the women. The Amazons were women.
They're goddesses. True goddesses.
True.
And, yes.
They did not have powerlessness.
No. Their power was, you know, they allowed themselves to embody that frequency, as you were saying. And I feel that that's very big what you bring forward, Angela, because I can speak from my own personal experiences with you in session. A big thing that Angela promotes as well is bringing your energy back to yourself, right? Like not having it expand outwardly, you know, to other people, but really bringing it in.
Always going. Always come
and
back
go
in.
up. You know,
always
go
come
up.
back and up. Always come back and up. It's always like this.
You know, like the flower too. You know, once again, blooming. Allow yourself
and
to
they bloom because they're connected to the earth.
Yes.
So if we never connect, we can never come in. And if we never come in, we can never go up. It's very simple.
Yes, and
in that sense.
I feel that that's such a big thing nowadays too, Angela, with, you know, women in society. Yes, we have programmed ourselves, just it's a literal societal programming that the unworthiness, you know, feeling unworthy of receiving everything that is meant for them. Like literally it's been a part of their lifetimes, if you want.
Disconnect.
It's disconnect.
It's just severe disconnect.
Yes.
The disconnect from our power always comes back when we begin connecting with the body. The body is full of infinite codes and possibilities and potential. And a lot of women, I always say, we are ambitious, we are educated, we are intelligent, we are loving, we are magical, we are sensual. I mean, we are so many things.
We are magic.
We're magic, we're divine. And then we're these creatures, we are goddesses in body. But if we don't connect in and with the body, we never access the power, the magic, the magnificence. And it's not just a personal thing. It is hugely magical and beautiful to live for yourself and be activated in your power and purpose. But the even more magical, magnificent part of that is when you do that as a woman. Everything around you starts to receive that energy. Because whether you have human kids or not, it's naturally part of us to mother. Our environment, the people, the things, the plants, the animals, we just do that. But when we are so low on life force and connection and power. So first of all, menstruation, bleeding, okay? Day one, first day we bleed. Leading up to that, or in the first day or two, usually day one or like 3 days, it could up to 10 days, depending on the body, leading up to that time, you will have cramping. it is actually not normal to have severe cramping or persistent cramping.
Okay.
Like, we should not be feeling with the oncoming cycle, the body always signals cramping. When we have the cramping, it's usually because hormonally the body is speaking to us. So pain is simply signal. They're words that the body speak, indicator, and the body is communicating. So when you start to feel the cramp coming on, one technique you can do is to go to the most comfortable place in your house.
Okay.
And you sit down, you lie down. Okay. Usually it's better to do it on your side. You can come and lie on the left side. Yes. You can come into a little bit of a comfortable, like a baby, curling up like a baby.
Like a fetal.
Yeah, like bend your knees.
That sounds so nice.
A little bit, but it's like in a relaxed way.
Yes.
And then you can make a little cup of tea, usually like, I like to make a little bit of Roboy's tea with a dash of cinnamon.
Okay. Is that for a specific reason? Is there any...
You would want something warming, because the warming is going to relax the womb. Or you can do a hot water bottle. You can also just do a hot water bottle. But the tea is just an easy thing to drink.
It's sort of like self-nurturing.
Yes.
Rebirth.
Or just plain hot water is fine too, if you have no tea. And then what you want to do is you want to put your hands over your womb. Okay. You're going to do your left hand over your lower belly.
Yes.
So the womb is below the belly button. So most women, a lot of my women have forgotten where the womb is.
Wow. Okay.
So the pubic bone, we have the pubic bone, so you can feel the bone, right? I have forgotten. Some people touch here. It's like, no, this is the stomach, right? This is digestion. Yes, the womb is way down.
Yes.
So the womb is right behind our pubic bone. You can feel the bone. And then behind the bone, it's usually the size of the woman's fist.
Wow.
So it can be like a peach or like an apple. For some people, it's more size of a mango, avocado. Depending on your stage of life, your anatomy, your biology, it's all different. Okay. But it's like a fruit. It's like a juicy, vibrant fruit. Yes. Right behind the pubic bone, because the pubic bone is like a shield, like protection over it. Okay. So you want to put your left palm over and then right palm over your left. Yes. And you're on your side. And you take a few slow inhale and exhale. And elongate the exhale into the womb.
Wow, okay.
And then what you do is you just listen. You can either ask, you can say, womb, what you're telling me. You can name your womb. You can say, Miranda, sunflower, whatever you want to, Chanel, whatever the name you want to, it does not matter. But you can say womb, and then you can say, what are you telling me? And just wait for a response. The womb will communicate.
Wow.
And
so powerful.
It will tell you, and that is an origin of where you're cramping, the pain comes from. Sometimes it'll communicate in imagery, so your womb may show you an image. Wow. And it has something to do with your connection to that person. It could be a place. But a lot of the times, the cramping leading up to day 1 has to do with we've not nourished our body in ways our body needed to be nourished in that 28-day cycle. Wow. So the 3 weeks leading up to your day 1, it may have been a really busy time. You were doing a lot of pushing or chasing or maybe traveling. Time zones can change things. Okay. Or you're processing something emotionally, breakups, emotional upheaval. Yeah. This is all processed here.
Yeah, stored in the womb.
Many different reasons. But when you feel that sensation coming, relax the body, breathe. Yes. Do something warming, and then ask the womb. Tell me what you need. And she will always respond. And if she doesn't respond, that's for a reason too. Something we'll get into another time. Yeah. But most of the time, the womb always responds. And when she doesn't, it's not because she's not responding. It's because we don't necessarily want to hear what she has to say. And that's a different, different world.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's so, I'm so grateful that you shared that with the viewers, because yes, as women, it's so important for us to connect to that, to our wombs and to that specific area. Because we focus on so much external, like you were saying, external remedies, when realistically, yes, if you just communicate.
And thank you for bringing that up.
Yes.
The external remedy, the medication, the synthetic chemicals. What happens is when you do that, you feel the cramping comes on.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, we got to nip it in the bud. It's like, take the
Western
pill, right?
culture.
What happens is when you do that, it is an intervention. So while your body is communicating something, like, hey, Chanel, pay attention. I would like to communicate something. And then you go ahead and put the synthetic chemical, the outside, in.
Yes.
You stop that communication, so you disconnect from the body. And we talked about this. When you disconnect from the body, we disconnect from the power. And then we are no longer present or inhabiting in the body. And at a spiritual level, your spirit, your soul, actually, you're out. You actually send it elsewhere. And it really perpetuates that disconnect. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And sometimes when the pain is so severe, we need and we appreciate the availability of medical intervention to give us some relief. But what's important is like to remember the relief is available as a short-term. It gives us more time. It buys us time to figure out what's really happening at the root. But we don't want to become so reliant and dependent on the relief. And then that perpetuates a long-term disabling, a disconnect.
I love this so much, Angela, because it's a big part of our message. Because personally, what I've gone through with different, eating disorders and different manifestations through surgical procedures, surgical intervention, just epidural injections, whether that be, a pill. I went into the whole Western chronic pain realm, right? What they label as chronic pain. I just say I was chronically disconnected from myself. And it was really big for me personally, especially in the womb, because I had developed, probably at a younger age, like 18 years old or so, very heavy menstrual cycles where I was blood clotting, and also I had very large ovarian cysts. Now, when I got healthy, I rooted that back to the relationship I was in. Literally, my body was reacting because I was not attracted to the person that I was choosing to engage, sexual relations with. And it was all manifesting in that area. And I was allowing it. Literally, my body was saying to me, I don't want this anymore. I don't like this.
So you were in conflict with your body rather than synergistically being with her. And when I got healthy, a big part of it, I did decide to do, just another procedure because I needed it just because the pain was so heavy. In all ways, I was blood clotting, but also just the level of intensity. And just for the viewers, just to let you know, I mean, even if you do get the procedure, afterwards it helped my life greatly to be able to go and see and go back inward and really get to the root cause. So wherever you're at on your journey, it can always, get better wherever you're at. It's just recognizing that, okay, there's something deeper to this. And whatever I need in this moment for myself it's okay, because I think that's big, but we must. It's a prompt. Whenever you feel there's an obstacle, there's like a glitch of some sort. It's an indicator. A prompt for you to go to the next cycle, to deepen, healthify,
deepen your connection,
roots, and come back. Like Chanel was saying, we want to come back in and go up. That's the design. That's our design. That's why the chakras, if that's people's language, it's your language. The chakras, we want to move up. The energy is moving up through our central channel.
Well, and I think of an abundance of when we start to allow ourselves to connect to that area, we actually start to give ourselves more credit of who we are. Because a lot of, as you were saying, trauma is stored in our womb, but also a lot of our power, as far as women, is stored in our womb. So when we start connecting to that area, we start to literally embody the frequency of goddess. Because it's who we are.
We clear the old, and then every time we clear the old and we shed and release it back, we are more plugged into the goddess power and energy.
Yes.
That's in every single woman, every single girl,
Woo.
no matter the age. Even
it's cool to
past,
be human. You know?
Even it's cool to be human.
Yes.
Even past, way
So
past
cool.
menstruation. You
Yes.
know, postmenopausal, like you still have access. You have access.
And
energy.
I feel that that's really big too for women who are watching and they're experiencing menopausal symptoms, and of course what comes societally usually with people who are experiencing menopause as a part of their journey and their path, and it's just
it's another initiation in womanhood to really enter and really get into that wise woman
to embrace
throne. You know, and
rather than resist it.
Exactly. And so for my clients who are going through menopause, postmenopause, we focus ways to minimize prescription medication, because that medication again blocks them from accessing the wise woman throne that they're meant to inherit, because we need wise women to step into the throne. We need elders. We need healthful elders, because they have so much experience, so much wisdom.
That's the tribe.
We need our grandmothers, great-grandmothers to nourish us in that sense, and we honor their presence and respect their presence. You know, and we need elders who've stepped into that place so fully.
Yeah.
So fully.
Well, and it's incredible to hear, you know, Angela, just the level of appreciation that you have, you know, for the ones who have come before us, and also the ones who are going to be coming in.
We would not be here without the ones who came before us, and the ones who come after us will not be here if we exit prematurely.
We
want to be healthy and stay in the body, body.
And we, of course, this is where we house our children. So us taking care of ourselves, as you speak about being your own mother, it then enables your child that comes through, if you so choose to have children, even if you don't, but it is a big part of us doing our job as women, you know, on ourselves.
And taking care of the womb.
Yes.
Because the womb stores everything. It stores things from our mother, our grandmother, our great-grandmother. Because if you think about it, we first were daughters.
Yes.
But before that, we were an egg in our mother's womb. So she was born, a woman's born with all her eggs in each lifetime.
Yeah.
So we were one of them when our mother was a baby. Our mother was that way for the grandmother. So you can see the maternal line, how we inherit